Welcome back to Clockwise Crypto, where we help you move forward towards financial freedom with crypto assets. Going to be diving in the power of crypto and ultimately the power of Bitcoin and how it's changing lives and giving freedom to the people. Stay tuned. Now let's dive in real quick. Looking at Bitcoin, we see Bitcoin is sitting at $41,469. A push up. If we look at the charts here, we do see that Bitcoin is still within range. So Bitcoin does continue to respect the levels that we are looking at here, and has not yet broken out of our triangle. So if we look here at our two areas of support and resistance, this is kind of what we're paying attention to. We do want to see Bitcoin break a new high, but as of this point, it is just retesting the current level. It's not doing anything unique or new, but it's just retesting what we've been looking at, and we want to see a breakout. So like I've said, you guys have been messaging us about my analysis, but I still hold true. I still think that we do break down one more time. I need to see, like I said, I need to see Bitcoin break above this level right here, and I do need to see Bitcoin close above 44.5. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, and we can kind of mark this level red so you guys can see, and you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at. I need Bitcoin to break above this level, and so we can put this right here, right on the wicks. We need to break and close above this level. So exactly that point for me is 45.2. I was saying 44.5 more so looking at the wicks, but if you want to be precise, we can close and stay above 45.5. That'll be great. That's kind of what I'm looking at, but I do expect a break below to the bottom is what I'm waiting for. Just one last push to the bottom, breaking this level right here. I do believe we'll break out of this triangle bearish. A lot of people don't think so. A lot of people are into the hype, but I do think we are bearish, so we will see what happens. So diving into the topic, really wanted to see how crypto is changing lives. So we look at how crypto donations in Ukraine they have been the financial lifeline for Ukraine and what that means for the future of money. So Ukraine has just passed a law pretty much legalizing crypto. And so what in this article is saying is Bitcoin and other crypto assets like Ether are playing a high profile role in funding Ukraine's war effort. Since the start of the conflict, thousands of anonymous individuals as well as a few companies and public figures have raised more than 50 million in crypto donations to fight off the invasion and aid those under siege. So what we're seeing here is people are allowed to send money overseas that some banking institutions would not allow, or you have to answer all these questions. Why are you sending it? Who are you sending it to? Crypto gives you the freedom to do that. It gives you the freedom to help others that are in need. So the anti-Putin art collective, Pussy Riot, is helping coordinate the Ukraine DAO, a new type of virtual organization enabled by this technology, has raised 6.5 million. So scrolling down here, we've covered this article already, but I think it's important to look even deeper to see this is changing people's lives. The freedom that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency decentralization is doing is allowing people to take care of their loved ones, to take care of people without having to ask permission, giving you the freedom to help and change other people's lives and ultimately save other people's lives in this scenario. So people can also use censorship resistant currencies to avoid capital controls and destabilize local fiat currencies, which is why the government of China has outlawed them and the Central Bank of Pakistan wants to ban them. So these countries that are big on controlling are not liking that their people can finally gain the freedom back, and that's what we're seeing. In emerging markets, leaders fear that Bitcoin will replace the local currencies that are corrupt, thus weakening the local currency, destabilizing the government. In economics, this displacement is known as dollarization, because for most of the past century, these same markets feared that the US dollar would replace the local trend and replace the local tender. This will become a growing concern for political leaders as the asset class continues to grow. These people are afraid, and we're calling them the banking cartel because these people inflict fear on their people and use things like the most widely used form of fear that these governments and these communities and these countries are using to inflict fear is currency. They're using money to control their people, and Bitcoin takes that away. Now these people can get back control of their lives with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrencies, because now these countries are no longer able to have a control on their people, because you can't control the money because it's not their money anymore. It's truly decentralized. They're able to hold their currencies. They're able to hold the power of their lives. So looking at this more, this has caused some leaders, like the president of the European Central Bank, to worry that Putin and his oligarchs can use Bitcoin now that the West have restricted the Russian central bank's access to the SWIFT payment messaging system, and the news of a new sanctions to reiterate her calls for stricter crypto regulations. So now they're looking at this on the flip side. The flip side is, let's say you want to bring sanctions to someone. The flip side is now you're not able to do that because they're using decentralization as well. So it's a two-edged sword. But I think we can agree that the good outweighs the bad. That the people in these countries that are being oppressed, that are being controlled, that are in a corrupt monetary system are no longer able to be controlled. And the shift is happening, and that's why you're going to see these governments try to put bans on people and put on the crypto, and put bans on the utilization of certain currencies, because now they're losing that grip of control on the people, and the corruption is not going to be able to exist anymore. So when we look at that, we say, criminals using crypto, they dive into this a little bit. So we'll look at crypto assets are for everyone, for left and the right, the rich and the poor, for liberal and conservative, for banked and unbanked. These digital assets can give a voice to the marginalized and can amplify the mainstream. They can help people we agree with and people we disagree with. That doesn't make them good or evil. It makes them free. And that's why these, we'll call them banking cartels, do not want you to have a voice. They do not want you to be able to be free. They don't want you to be able to, if you don't want to, contribute to something, in normal situations, some of these countries, they'll just take it from you. They don't want you to be able to say no. They don't want you to be able to have a voice. They're in countries that are so communist and so focused on controlling their people that when you see something like Bitcoin or something like cryptos that are giving people a voice, they don't want it anymore. So looking at this next article here, they don't want that for the people to have that voice. They want them to be suppressed. They want them to be silent. Bitcoin offers freedom from political repression, and that's the key to its future. So a lot of people were looking at Bitcoin as a hot investment, and of course that's why I initially got involved. I passed up on Bitcoin when it was at $1,000. One of my friends told me about it, and he bounced around so much, the different opportunities, that I was like, oh, whatever. I would use Bitcoin to fund trading accounts, but didn't really look at it as an investment. And then it popped up to 20 grand. I was like, oh, shoot. So first you look at Bitcoin. It's not only a hot investment, but it's being used to give freedom to people. First, Bitcoin is censorship resistant, offers freedom from financial repression, which is very big and we look at these countries that we just talked about. Second, Bitcoin is emerging as a natural successor to gold and a store of value. So not only are people able to make financial strides, but also to store their wealth and control it themselves, not just put it in a bank and hope that when they go to make a large withdrawal that the bank says yes to get a hold of their money. So third, Bitcoin is benefiting from their efforts of the legacy financial technology. Payment companies like PayPal, Square, and Visa, they're currently making Bitcoin available to hundreds of millions of users and millions of merchants. Fourth, Bitcoin is being embraced by large companies, institutions as an alternative to cash and other assets and balance sheets in their portfolios. So Bitcoin communities is borderline religious in their devotion, which makes Bitcoin resilient. The freedom financial oppression, which we're talking about from these banking cartels, because that's what they are really, right? You're able to control people by controlling their money, be able to control their ability to live. So Bitcoin's usage in emerging markets is increasing rapidly, albeit from a small base. While it's true that Bitcoin can be a better alternative for unbanked people who don't have a means or access or even the basic proof of identity to open a bank account, it turns out that the biggest benefit today for many people is that Bitcoin is censorship resistant. In other words, the government can't throttle, can't control, can't monitor your behavior as they can in the legacy financial world. Consider the following example from Nigeria, India, Belarus, China, and Russia, collectively home to 3 billion people. In 2020, protests against the government erupted in Lagos and across Nigeria because of the brutal and illegal actions of a unit in the police force. Within days, the groups and supporting the protesters had their bank accounts frozen because they took a stance. So once you understand that crypto is bigger than just making money, it's allowing people to have control. It's allowing people to get the control back that giving them a voice. And so that's what gets me very excited about crypto. Please dive into the history of the legacy banking system and look at the transition and the importance of decentralization, which is why we talk about the importance of projects like Cardano and projects that of being truly decentralized and giving that power back to the people. And that's why we talk about Bitcoin, because they have displayed to be the ultimate decentralized protocol. And this is really making a big impact in people's lives. This is making a huge impact across the world. And this is just the beginning.